Good evening. It's time now for Saturday Nightmares, our weekly trip into terror with its monsters, terror demons, horrible motion pictures, and your host, most frightening of all, Uncle Scary. Ha 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 ha. Ah, so good to see you on my domain. Tonight, I present you a lot of great scares. Welcome to Saturday Nightmares. This is a very scary show. Tonight's tale terror is called Night of the Living Dead. Basically, it centers around four strangers that are trapped in a haunted house. There are zombies surrounding them. Basically, it's all about bigotry and stuff like that. How bigotry gets the better of us. A lot of strange occurrences. Basically, they get four innocent people. Basically, actually a lot of scares. Shall we begin? Let's go watch our first portion of our movie, The Night of the Living Dead.
They ought to make the day the time changes, the first day of summer.
What?
Well, it's 8 o'clock and it's still light.
A lot of good the extra daylight does us. Now, we've still got a 3-hour drive back. We're not going to be home until after midnight.
Well, if it really bugged you, Johnny, you wouldn't do it.
You think I want to blow Sunday on a scene like this? You know, I figure we're either going to have to move Mother out here or move the grave into Pittsburgh.
She can't make a trip like this.
Oh, darling, she can. Is there any of that candy left?
No.
Look at this thing. We still remember. I don't. You know, I don't even remember what the man looks like.
Johnny, it takes you 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes to put the wreath on the grave and 6 hours to drive back and forth. Mother wants to remember, so we trot 200 miles into the country and she stays at home.
Well, we're here, John, all right?
Back on? Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming back on the air after an interruption due to a technical problem.
Nothing wrong with the radio. Must have been the station.
Which row is it in?
dear.
Oh, look, I already lost an hour's sleep on the time change.
I think you complain just to hear yourself talk. There it is.
I wonder what happened to the one from last year. Each year we spend good money on these things. We come out here and the one from last year's gone.
Well, the flowers die, and the caretaker or somebody takes them away.
Yeah, a little spit and polish can clean this up. Sell it next year. Wonder how many times we bought the same one. Hey, come on, Barb. Church was this morning, huh? Hey, I mean praying's for church, huh? Come on.
I haven't seen you in church lately.
Well, there's not much sense in my going to church. Do you remember one time when we were small, we were out here? It was from right over there. I jumped out at you from behind the tree, and Grandpa got all excited, and he shook his fist at me, and he said, "Boys, you'll be damned to hell." Remember that? Right over there. Well, you used to really be scared here.
Johnny,
You're still afraid.
stop it now. I mean it.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Stop it. You're ignorant.
They're coming for you, Barbara.
Stop it. You're acting like a child.
They're coming for you. Look, there comes one of them now.
He'll hear you.
Here he comes now. I'm getting out of here.
Johnny. Oh, no! Johnny! Help me!
to him, I can handle them. Probably be a lot more of them as soon as they find out about us. The truck is out of gas. This pump out here is locked. Is there a key? We can try to get out here if we can get some gas. Is there a key? I suppose you've tried this. Do you live here? We've got to get out of here. We have to get where there's some other people. Maybe we better take some food. I'll see if I can find some food.
Basically, it's like the center of all great horror movies. Basically, you get some innocent strangers. Basically, they're from all backgrounds. Rather than actually doing something about it, they spend more time arguing about it. Basically, it's how bigotry gets the better of us. A lot of strange occurrences and all that. You know, the zombies actually doing something about it. Basically, it's how bigotry gets the better of us. Zombies around us. Anyway. There are a lot of strange occurrences. Let's get to part 2 of our movie.
He grabbed me, and he ripped at me. He held me, and he ripped at my clothes.
I think you should just calm down.
Oh, I screamed, Johnny! Johnny, help me! Oh, help me! And he wouldn't let me go. He ripped. And then Johnny came, and he ran, and he fought this man. And I got so afraid. I ran. And Johnny didn't come. We have to wait for Johnny. Hey, we better go out and get him. We have to go out and get Johnny. He's out there. Please, don't you hear me? We've got to go out and get him. Please! We have got to go get Johnny! Please help me! Please!
Don't you know what's going on out there? This is no Sunday school picnic.
Don't you understand? My brother is alone!
Your brother is dead.
No! My brother is not dead!
Because of the obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night. This station and hundreds of other radio and TV stations throughout this part of the country are pooling their resources through an emergency network hookup to keep you informed of all developments. At this hour, we repeat, these are the facts as we know them. There is an epidemic of mass murder being committed by a virtual army of unidentified assassins. The murders are taking place in villages, cities, rural homes, and suburbs with no apparent pattern or reason for the slayings. It seems to be a sudden, general explosion of mass homicide. We have some descriptions of the assassins. Eyewitnesses say they are ordinary-looking people. Some say they appear to be in a kind of trance. Others describe them as being... So, at this point, there is no really authentic way for us to say who or what to look for and guard yourself against. Misshapen monsters. Reaction of law enforcement officials is one of complete bewilderment at this hour. So far, we have been unable to determine that any kind of organized investigation is yet underway. Police, sheriff deputies, and emergency ambulances are literally deluged with calls for help. The scene can best be described as mayhem. Mayors of Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and Miami, along with the governors of several eastern and midwestern states, have indicated the National Guard may be mobilized at any moment, but that has not happened as yet. The only advice our reporters have been able to get from official sources is for private citizens to stay in their homes behind locked doors. Do not venture outside for any reason until the nature of this crisis has been determined and until we can advise what course of action to take. Keep listening to radio and TV for any special instructions as this crisis develops further. Thousands of office and factory workers are being urged to stay at their places of employment, not to make any attempt to get to their homes. However, in spite of this urging and warning, streets and highways are packed with frantic people trying to reach their families or apparently to flee just anywhere. We repeat, the safest course of action at this time is simply to stay where you belong. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just received word that the President has called a meeting of his cabinet to deal with the sudden epidemic of murder which has seized the eastern third of this nation. The meeting is scheduled to convene within the hour. Members of the presidential cabinet will be joined by officials of the FBI and joint teams behind closed doors. The White House spokesman, in announcing this conference, says there will be an official announcement as soon as possible following that meeting. This is the latest dispatch just received in our newsroom. Latest word also from National Press Services in Washington, D.C. now tells us that the emergency presidential conference, which we've just mentioned, will include high-ranking scientists from the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. That's the extent of this latest meeting. Members of this cabinet, the FBI, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and the scientists from NASA within the hour. All radio and TV stations around this part of the country, including the one to which you are listening, have joined their facilities in an emergency network to bring you this news as it develops. We urge you to stay tuned to radio and TV and to stay indoors at all costs. Late reports reaching this newsroom tell of frightened people seeking refuge in churches, schools, and government buildings, demanding shelter and protection from the wholesale murder which apparently is engulfing much of the nation. Law enforcement officials are at a loss to explain or even at this hour, even to theorize about the reasons for this wave of murder. So far, the area of the public is silent. Chief T.K. Dunmore of Camden, North Carolina, was quoted as saying, quote, "Tell the people, for God's sake, to get off the streets. Tell them to go home and lock their doors and windows up tight. We don't know what kind of murder-happy characters we have here." Camden, North Carolina. Similar killings have been reported around the Houston and Galveston areas, but nothing like
I found a gun and some bullets out there.
It was only late yesterday
What are these?
it became clear we were facing some kind of national emergency. When first reports began filtering in, newsmen and law enforcement agencies were of the opinion
This place is boarded up pretty solid now.
in nature. However, as these
We ought to be all right here for a while.
dramatically, it was soon apparent
We have a
this was
gun,
nothing more than the
bullets,
use of a lawlessness.
food, and the radio.
Began to suspect an obscure kind of conspiracy.
Sooner or later, someone bound to come and get us out.
So again, we join with law enforcement agencies, urging you to seek shelter in a building. Lock doors and windows securely.
Hey, that's us. We're doing all right.
Precautions of any suspicious stranger, and keep tuned to your radio and television for survival instructions and further details of this continuing story.
Look, I don't know if you're hearing me,
In the absence of any
but I'm going upstairs now. If anything should try to break in here, I can hear it from up there. I'll be down to take care of it. Everything is all right for now. I'll be back to reinforce the windows and doors later. But you'll be all right for now, okay? Okay.
Civil defense officials in Cumberland have told newsmen that murder victims show evidence of having been partially devoured by their murderers. Consistent reports from witnesses to the effect that people who acted as though they were in a kind of trance were killing and eating their victims prompted authorities to examine the bodies of some of the victims. Medical authorities in Cumberland have concluded that in all cases, the killers are eating the flesh of the people they murdered. Repeating this latest bulletin just received moments ago from Cumberland, Maryland, civil defense authorities have told newsmen that murder victims show evidence of having been partially devoured by their murderers. Medical examination of victims' bodies shows conclusively that the killers are eating the flesh of the people they killed. And so this incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report. It's difficult to imagine such a thing actually happening, but these are the reports we have been receiving and passing on to you. Reports which have been verified as completely as is possible in this confused situation. It is happening, and it would appear that no one is safe from this wave of mass murder.
We're from town. A radio.
County, Pennsylvania. Butler County Sheriff has verified that reports of murder victims being partially eaten by their slayers is true. No further details available at this time.
Oh, you guys been down there. I could use some help up here.
That's the cellar. It's the safest place.
You mean you didn't hear the racket we were making up here?
How are we supposed to know what was going on? Could have been those things for all we knew.
That girl was screaming. Sure, you must know what a girl screaming sounds like. Those things don't make any noise. Anybody would know somebody ever needed help.
Look, it's kind of...
Gotta fix these boards.
You're crazy. Those things are going to be at every window and door in this place. We've got to get down into the cellar.
Go down in that damn cellar. Get out of here!
I'm taking the girl with me.
Leave her here. Keep your hands off her. And everything else is up here, too. Because if I stay up here, I'm fighting for everything up here. And the radio and the food is part of what I'm fighting for. Now, if you're going down the cellar, get.
The man's insane. He's insane. We've got to have food down there. We've got a right.
This is your house.
We've got a right.
You going down there with him?
Well,
Yes or no? This is your last chance. No beating around the bush.
listen, I got a kid down there. She can't I couldn't bring her up here. She can't possibly take all the racket, those things smashing through the windows.
Well, you're the father. If you're stupid enough to go die in that trap, that's your business. However, I am not stupid enough to follow you. It is tough for the kid. That old man is so stupid. Now, get the hell down in the cellar. You can be the boss down there. I'm boss up here.
Bastards. You know, I'm going to open this door again. I mean it. Mr. Cooper, with your help, we can... With my help?
Let him go, man. His mind is made up. Just let him go.
Wait a minute. Judy, come on up here, honey. I let them get her, too, huh? It's all right.
If we stick together, man, we can fix it up real good. There's lots of places we can run to up here. Mr. Cooper, we'd all be a lot better off if all three of us were working together.
Hey, kid.
He's wrong, you know. I'm not boxing myself in down there.
Well, we're safe now. It's boarded up tight.
What about Tom and Judy?
They want to stay up there and let them. There are two other people upstairs, a man and a girl.
She's screaming.
Yeah, but I didn't know who they were, and I wasn't about to take any unnecessary chances.
Of course not.
Is she all right?
I don't know. She feels warm. Maybe it's shock.
Where'd you get the bandage?
Some laundry in a basket, I suppose.
Let them stay upstairs. Let them. Too many ways those monsters can get in up there. We'll see who's right. We'll see when they come begging me to let them in down here.
That's important, isn't it?
What?
To be right, everybody else to be wrong.
What do you mean by that?
Does anyone up there know why we're being attacked?
Whatever it is, it isn't just happening here. It's some kind of mass murder. It's going on everywhere. The radio said to stay inside.
Radio?
Radio upstairs. I heard a news bulletin.
There's a radio upstairs and you boarded us in down here?
I know what I'm doing.
What did it say?
Nothing. Nothing. They don't know anything yet. There's mass murder everywhere, and people are supposed to look for a safe place to hide.
Take the boards off that door.
We are staying down here, Helen.
Harry, that radio is at least some kind of communication. If the authorities know what's happening, well, they'll send people for us to tell us what to do. How are we going to know what's going on if we lock ourselves in this dungeon? We may not enjoy living together, but dying together isn't going to solve anything. Those people aren't our enemies. Let's go up. Tom? If Judy would come downstairs for a few minutes, Harry and I could come upstairs.
We can do it. Look, honey, nothing's going to get done with them down there and us up here. Do this for me. Okay, open up.
enjoyed the movie so far. Know some things. A lot of credence about that. Pretty funky, eh? As the poet says, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. This case be weirder. A lot of great scares, monsters, brings on the prowl. Basically, a lot of zombies and all that. Basically, George A. Romero was trying to go for a bloodier approach, whereas, zombies were virtually killed with salt. George R. was going for more bloody approach, where to shoot him in the head, get a clever torch, beat him or burn him. Basically, was going for a more gorier approach. I think shooting a zombie in the head would do nothing but anger the zombie. Some things. Anyway, let's get to part 3 of our movie.
Play with the revenues.
Reports, incredible as they seem, are not results of mass hysteria.
Mass hysteria. What do they think? We're imagining all this? Shut up!
In all parts of the country, the wave of murder which is sweeping the eastern third of the nation is being committed by creatures who feast upon the flesh of their victims. First eyewitness accounts of this grisly development came from people who were understandably frightened and almost incoherent. Officials and newsmen at first discounted those eyewitness descriptions as being beyond belief. However, reports persisted. Medical examinations of some of the victims bore out the fact that they had been partially devoured. I think we have some late word of just arriving, and I'll interrupt to bring this to you. This is the latest disclosure in a report from National Civil Defense Headquarters in Washington. It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. A widespread investigation of reports from funeral homes, morgues, and hospitals has concluded that the unburied dead are coming back to life and seeking human victims. It's hard for us here to believe what we're reporting to you, but it does seem to be a fact. When this emergency first began, radio and television was advising people to stay inside, behind locked doors for safety. That situation has now changed, and we're able to report a definite course of action. Civil defense machinery has been organized to provide rescue stations with food, shelter, medical treatment, and protection by armed National Guardsmen. Stay tuned to the broadcasting stations in your local area for this list of rescue stations. This list will be repeated throughout our news coverage. Look for the name of the rescue station nearest you and make your way to that location as soon as possible.
So we have that truck. We can get some gas, we can get out of here.
There's a pump out by the shed.
I know, that's why I pulled in here, but it's locked.
Called this afternoon by the President. Since convening this conference of the Presidential Cabinet, the FBI, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the CIA has not produced any public information. Why are space experts being consulted about an Earth-bound emergency? So far, all the betting on the answer to that question centers on the recent Explorer satellite shot to Venus. That satellite, you'll recall, started back to Earth, but never got here. That's the space vehicle which orbited Venus and then was purposely destroyed by NASA when scientists discovered it was carrying a mysterious high-level radiation with it. Could that radiation be somehow responsible for the wholesale murders we're now suffering? Newsman Don Quinn in Washington has posed those questions.
It's obvious our best move is to try to get out of here.
How are you going to get over to that pump? Look.
You're coming from a meeting regarding the explosion of the Venus probe, is that right?
Yes, that was the subject of the meeting.
You feel there is a connection between this and the phenomenon?
There's a definite connection. In other words, you feel that the radiation on the Venus probe is enough to cause these mutations? There was a very high degree of radiation.
Just a minute. I'm not sure that that's certain at all. I don't think that has been
logical explanation that we have at this time.
In other words, it is the military's viewpoint that the radiation is not the cause of the mutation.
I can't speak for the entire military at this time, gentlemen. I must disagree with these gentlemen presently until this is irrefutably proved.
Everything is being done that can be done.
We'll have to hurry for our next meeting.
Professor, you feel that there is a definite connection between as far as Dr. Keller and myself.
Doctor, please. I thought we decided that is not proved yet.
Was the satellite, when the satellite was exploded?
Unusual amount of radiation enough to cause mutation under certain circumstances.
Could have happened.
Have a bearing on it.
It does seem to have a bearing.
Will there be a reply for this.
Later?
Yes.
There will be a reply.
Yes.
Later this afternoon. There will be a report this afternoon.
Perhaps there will be a report.
Yes. Later. We are doing everything possible.
Hoping to get some further explanation of this.
We've heard all we need to know. We have to try to get out of here.
He said the rescue stations have doctors and medical supplies. If we could get Karen there, we can get help for her.
Cosmo is one of the world's foremost authorities on space science and technology.
Willard. I saw a sign that said Willard.
At any moment.
It's only about 17 miles from here.
You know this area. You from around here?
Judy and I are both from around here. We were on our way up to the lake to go swimming. Judy had a radio, and we heard the first reports about this. So we knew the old house was here, and we came in and found it.
I'm going with him.
Get back in the cellar.
I'm going.
It's too late.
Well, is it coming? Come on.
Get in. This key won't work.
Watch out. Watch the torch.
Gotta get away from the pump. Hang on.
there's a lesson, eh? Never pick up zombies on the hood of your car. Well, it's time for this boogeyman to boogie. I'll be slaying you, boils and ghouls. Till next time we meet, try to stay scared. And when next I present, I have no clue. I know it's going to be really scary. Anyway, it's Uncle Scary wishing you pleasant nightmares, everyone.